So the other major storyline coming out of the Preakness, and we touched on it at the beginning of the first segment, was myRacehorse getting its first major coup for a horse that they own in entirety. Seize the Grey was a $300,000 Facing Tipton, Saratoga graduate. Shout out to Facing for selling another tremendous horse who's gone on to have classic success. So there were, as John mentioned, over 2,700 owners of Seize the Grey. They weren't all there. It only just seemed like that. And it's sparked a little bit of conversation on social media. And there has been this conversation in the past about myRacehorse and their business model, but it really kind of blew up and came to the forefront and heated up because obviously they have had this major success now. And I think there are a lot of people this week probably Googling myRacehorse and wondering about it because they got a bunch of pops from the NBC people as well after the race. And, it's microshares are a relatively new concept to racing. I think that it's going to grow. There's going to be other microshare syndicates and groups that are going to try to emulate myRacehorse's success on the racetrack. But I mean, I think there are positives and negatives to it. I think, it's the issue I think that people have with this is like the share for the horse cost $127. You just won the Preakness and the payout is going to be like $178. So like, I think a lot of people are questioning like where the money is going. And that was kind of the case with Authentic too. Was Authentic, obviously they owned a smaller piece of him, but he won the Derby, the Breeders' Cup. He's a very popular stallion. And like, how much money did the myRacehorse shareholders get back from that? I don't think it was very much. The flip side of that is people aren't in it for the money. They want to say that they own a small piece of a racehorse that just won the Preakness Stakes. And if that's enough for them, I don't honestly think that you should talk down to people who get enough of a thrill out of that and aren't in it to realize a profit. Like there are plenty of other places in the business that you can go to try to make money. And West Point Partners have been very successful, like the ones with Flightline. You can make real money doing that, which is a major selling point for a lot of people, but not everyone is into the business for that reason. So I don't know, those are just my overall thoughts. I think there's a lot of nuance here. John, what's your impression?
Well, Joe, I think it all comes down to the way that myRacehorse markets itself. Okay, they're marketing, in my opinion, they are marketing their opportunities as a way to get involved in racing, a way to own a racehorse, and a way to be involved. Those are all true statements. I think where it veers off is it gives people the illusion that they are going to be participating in purses. They're going to be participating in if the horse syndicates to become a stallion, which obviously now Seize the Grey, will be doing. But in reality, that's not the case. If you read the fine print, you're not going to be participating in stallion ownership. So when the horse gets syndicated and the horse sells for millions and millions of dollars, my understanding, again, I didn't read the specific offering on Seize the Grey, but my understanding from past horses that they've had, is that the stallion ownership is outside of the scope of this ownership. When Spendthrift was heavily involved in putting up the money, they got the majority, they got the lion's share of the benefit, which is why Audible is there, and which is why Audible is flourishing as a stallion prospect there. So if you're coming in as a microshare owner and you expect to be remunerated monetarily, this isn't the group for you. You're not going to see any money. If, however, you want to be in a fan club for the horse, in essence, kind of like I'm a fan club, I'm in the Aerosmith fan club. Okay,
this is Joe Bianca fan club.
Not yet, but it's coming. It's coming, Joe. If you keep showing up on Newsmax, it's right around the corner, buddy.
Not Newsmax, News Nation.
Oh, News Nation. I'm sorry. That's why I couldn't find you. Before. Okay. Anyway, but I'm, so that does that mean that I'm gonna, as an Aerosmith card carrying, member, that I'm gonna fan club member, that I'm gonna be able to have dinner with Steven Tyler? No, it does not mean that. What it means is that I get 10% off of their merchandise. I get, preferred seating options for their concerts, and I get an Aerosmith T-shirt. So if they marketed, they being myRacehorse, if they marketed it as it's a fan club, then I would be a little bit more, a little kinder towards them. But I think they're really trying to like push the envelope and say that you people own the horse. And I guess technically, as a microshare owner, you do own the horse, but you don't have a license. You don't have access to be able to go to the paddock unless you win a lottery. You don't have the ability to talk to the trainer one-on-one like you would if you were in a smaller partnership or owned it outright. So to me, I think that they're really pushing it as far as whether or not it's ownership or if it is indeed a fan club. I would call My Racehorse a successful fan club of racing with people who have ownership in that fan club, not necessarily ownership in the horse. But it's moot. If you're plunking up $150 to say that you own a microshare in a horse and it excites you, then that's great. More power to you. I'm happy for the 2,700 people in 40 plus states that own a piece of that fan club. And I genuinely hope that it fosters more interest in the industry and that some of them develop and mature into becoming full-fledged owners. But I don't like the idea that My Racehorse is calling their fans, their investors, owners, because you're not an owner of the horse, really. You're an owner of the entity that owns, it's a fan club for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, when we talked about this, like you would have made a lot more money just betting on Seize the Grey.
Exactly.
On Saturday, taking out $127 and betting him at 9-1, you would have made like 5 or 6x what you're going to make from the Preakness. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think it's like your mileage may vary situation. Like if this is something that gets you excited and you can tell people you own a small miniature slice of a Preakness winner, God bless. Like, who am I to say you shouldn't feel great about that? And I have seen some like annoying gatekeeping on Twitter about like, well, you're not a real owner. I'm a real owner. And this and that. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, just let people have their fun. And if they don't care about getting a return on their investment, then whatever. What does it matter to you? The other thing is, as you mentioned, some people will mature and go to higher levels. Like at West Point, we've had new partners come in who got their feet wet with My Racehorse just to see what it was like, what ownership, quote unquote, was like. And they want to play at a higher level. So if this is a concept that can introduce new people to racing that would have never gotten into it necessarily before, right, and they continue to spend more and invest more in the business, then I think it's a great thing for the industry. But I tend to agree also with your point that it's not really ownership. Like I think the analogy I always think of is like, how you can like get like a star named after you? It's like you go on the internet and there's like a star somewhere in the galaxy and you can name it after yourself. Like, yes, technically there's a star with your name on it, but you're never going to see it. Like it's never going to be an actual tangible thing for you. So if you want that certificate that says I got a star named Lisa Left Eye Lopez in honor of John's favorite R&B artist of all time, that's great. But it's not the kind of intimate experience that you would get spending your money somewhere else that would give you like more actual tangible return. And that's kind of what I think of with the My Racehorse concept. It's a fan club. That was another good analogy. And I think there are a lot of benefits in terms of introducing people to the game and lowering the barrier to entry. But yeah, like I understand the reason for the cynicism, at least when the horse won the Preakness and the microshare owners are getting $178 back, right, because the horse $1.2 million for the race, obviously minus $120,000 to Dwayne, $120,000 to Jaime Torres. That's still a boatload of money. And it begs the question, like, where is all that money going to if it's not going back to the quote unquote owners?
Well, for right now, it's all going to the photographer the track photographer, because you get 2,700 different pictures that you're selling. Joe, I will say just one more thing, and then we can put a bow on this. I feel like that this was really My Racehorse's true first, grade one winner. I know they kind of jumped on the bandwagon for Audible and was it a savvy investment? Yeah. What? Authentic. I'm sorry. What did I say? Audible. I'm sorry. Authentic. Was it a savvy investment because the horse did win the Derby? Absolutely. Did they own any piece of it other than just being enough of it to be able to put their name on the program? No, that's really all it was. But they actually went out and they found this horse and they bought him as a yearling. Again, Facing Tipton. They bought him as a yearling, developed and trained him, gave him to the coach to develop and train. and win a Preakness. And that is a really difficult thing to do in the business. So, I do tip my cap to them on this one. On the previous one, I was like, they're just fan jumpers, and they're doing the same thing that a lot of other people do, which is, buy a horse once it's already proven at an exorbitant amount of money for a small percentage so they can have their name on the program. And
that's called the Saul Kuman, I think.
You said that, not me. I didn't say it.
I like Saul, and I like Saul a lot, but that's his
model. That's his model.
Yeah.
Exactly. But this was a difficult thing to do, and My Racehorse accomplished that. So I give them full credit, because there's only one minted every year. There's only one Preakness winner every year. And they unearthed it and they found it. And for this one, I would definitely be, if I was them, I would definitely be promoting and marketing about the fact that we actually developed and owned a horse all unto ourselves. And he won the Preakness, which again is a milestone.